And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody. Jeff Rolick here in the studio, and we're pre-recorded. And we're talking to Mitch Miller here on a special Party Line broadcast. Mitch, nice to have you here.
Good to be here, Jeff.
Okay, well, tomorrow night you'll be in Utica. You want to talk about that symphony performance?
Yes, I'll be conducting the Utica Symphony in the Pops concert, easy listening classics, with a young, marvelous soloist, Mark Kaplan, who's originally from Syracuse, one of the country's leading violinists. He's only 19, but giant of a soloist. And we'll have some selections from Sound of Music. And after the program, the whole audience will join in. We'll do a sing-along with the audience and the Utica Symphony.
Wow, you're remembered for the sing-along. How many concerts have you done across the nation with these various symphony orchestras?
Oh, well, I had an orchestra on tour for 2 months. That was 48 concerts alone, but that's very unusual. I usually do about 26 to 30 a year.
Mm-hmm. Where's your next?
Winnipeg, Canada.
Winnipeg, Canada. Very good. Well, now let's turn to your career. I think we'd like to find out something about your musical background. You're one of those musical prodigies, aren't you?
Well, no, I know. He started off young. That doesn't make you a prodigy.
Well, Mozart started young, didn't he?
Yes, but he lived a full life by 30. No, I started making a living at 15, but I'm a product of the Rochester Public Schools.
Right. Now, I'm a native Rochesterian, too. I was wondering, can you tell me something? Where did you grow up around Rochester?
5th Ward, right by a little street named Sheridan Street, runs into Bausch and Lomb. Mm-hmm. I was born there. In fact, I lived there all my life till I came to New York in 32.
Which high school did you go to?
East High School.
East High, the old one down
the old
East,
one, yeah.
Alexander Street. Right. Well, I went to Monroe. So, can you tell me something about your musical training?
Well, it's a lot of kids had the same training. You know, I took the lessons at least Saturday morning. Had the high school orchestras, the inter-high school orchestras and bands. And then I got a scholarship at the Hochstein Memorial School, then a scholarship at the Eastman School. And then at age 15, I got a job playing in the Stromberg-Carlson Orchestra.
WHAM.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I used to run to Syracuse and play in their symphony on weekends. Mm-hmm. And
were you taught by Dr. Hansen in the Eastman School?
No, he was just head of the school.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't. He wasn't a teacher for me at all. There was an Englishman named Arthur Foreman, who was my oboe teacher. But there are a lot.
That was your principal instrument, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So you played with Syracuse, and then what happened?
Well, then I went to New York when I graduated. There was not much doing around Rochester, and I, played Metropolitan Museum concerts, the Russian Opera. I got on WPA. They needed oboe players,
Mm-hmm.
And for those who are old enough to remember, that was relief. But it was relief with dignity. We got $23.50 a week, and you did your job, and you kept your craft handy, and people got pleasure from you. And there's no reason why it can't be done now with people who are out of work. I mean, nobody likes to sit home and take money without working. And then after that, an opening. Now I went on tour with George Gershwin. I played the first performances of Porgy and Bess for 4 weeks, and then I got on the CBS Symphony Orchestra. 1935, was there till 1948.
Mm-hmm. Who's the conductor of that orchestra?
Oh, lots of conductors. Fritz Reine.
Was Ormandy?
No. Fritz Reiner, Howard Barlow, Sir Thomas Beecham, Stravinsky, Hamilton Hardy. They had lots of great guest conductors.
Mm-hmm. And from there you went to Columbia Records, correct?
I went to Mercury Records in 1948. And then 2 years later, I went to Columbia in 1950.
Mm-hmm. What was your position at Columbia?
Well, I was first artist and repertoire man. Then after that, I was made head of the popular division. We were the third company as far as business went. In 2 years, we were number one and never headed after that. Now, all these people were developed by Columbia at that time.
Which ones, for instance?
Well, Tony Bennett, Frankie Lane, Patty Page, Rosemary Clooney, Guy Mitchell, Johnny Ray, the Four Lads, Jerry Vale, Johnny Mathis, Errol Garner. I know I've forgotten something. Doris Day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. You have any favorite among those?
No, I mean, it's like a father with a lot of children, Right. You like one better than the other some days, but they all have their share.
Right. Now, how about your own musical organization, Mitch Miller's Gang? How'd that get started?
Well, I had, I used to do the backgrounds for Guy Mitchell, Frankie Lane, and use a chorus, if you remember, The Roving Kind. No, you don't. You're too young. It was 1950, 51. You know, it seems like yesterday, but another generation has gone by. I had a chorus, you know, doing My Heart Cries for You and The Roving Kind, and then I had a chorus behind Frankie Lane's records. Then I made some records on my own with the same chorus. The first one was Yellow Rose of Texas.
That was in, what, 50?
53.
53.
Yeah.
Right. And of course that sold pretty well, and you went on to sing along with Mitch. How'd you get with NBC to start that program?
Because CBS didn't want the program. Neither did NBC, really. You know, the Rabbi sing-along records were selling in the millions, and yet, you know, the television department didn't talk to the record company, it seemed. And and so when they didn't take it, I offered it to NBC, and they didn't take it either. Then I did a one-shotter on NBC in 1960, May 1960, and still CBS didn't want it, but they got thousands of letters. And the following year, NBC gave me 7 more, and then the following year we were on regular.
And this lasted for how long?
5 years.
Right. Want to talk about that show? Any particular memories? Or?
No, I think people know better about it than I do. I know how to put it together.
How was it put together?
Well, we worked hard. Took 10 days to make an hour show, but we'd start in the summer and get about 7 ahead, and then we'd end in a tie at the end of the year.
Right. We'll take a break now and be back after this. And we're back with Mitch Miller here on our special party line, and we've been talking about his show. I was wondering, what's your opinion of some of the great band leaders, like, for example, Lawrence Welk?
Well, Lawrence Welk is an anachronism. He has a good organization. He's a horrible accordion player, frightful, and I think he'd agree with me. But he has a commodity that a segment of the public loves, and I think it's marvelous. And I think that he's doing a wonderful job. I think he underpays people, but well, I mean, he pays them union scale, but that's it.
Yeah.
You know, nobody gets extra for being a soloist or anything like that. But look, he gives them notoriety, so I guess there's a difference there.
What's your estimation of why the big band era disappeared?
Well, the need for it passed because you had it never disappeared because you have it on records now. You never had the big bands on records, really. From the point of view of LP. Actually, what is Ray Conniff? That's another artist I helped develop. I forgot. Percy Faith also. Ray Conniff is nothing more than the old Artie Shaw and Harry James arrangements, but with different colors. I gave him the idea of using the voices as blending with the instruments. And it's eminently successful because it was good the first time around. And he made those arrangements, so he wasn't stealing from anybody but himself. And so when you have a band like that, you have the best musicians in the country in New York, you can get them together and have idealized versions of songs with the same arrangers who did it for the bands. So the economics of going on tour just didn't make any more sense. I mean, you couldn't go to hear a band for $1 or $1.50 the way you did. You had to get your old man's car, and it would cost about $5 a piece, and by the time your date was through, it was $20 or $25 if you had anything to eat, and that's too much for people to handle. But at the same time, if there was no other way, I'm sure they would have even gone if they wanted to, but the same thing was available on records then, so what was the need to rush out?
You probably have candid opinions about today's music, popular music that young people listen to.
Well, look, some of it's great, some of it's horrible, but that was always the case, even when I was recording. We forget all the junk that that were hits because the good stuff has risen to the top and stays there, and that would be the same today.
What music do you like today? In popular music, what?
Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Chicago. Aretha Franklin, Diane Warwick, of the new artists I'm talking about.
What do you think of the Beatles?
They're all right. They're a rip-off, but they're all right. I think they were marvelous. They set for sassiness, the idea that working-class kids could make a lot of money and flaunt it. I think that was very beautiful, very healthy.
Right.